Hey guys, welcome back to another Warframe video, where today we are still on our Warframe Done Efficiently account, but after last week's finale where we got to a Legendary 2, we are going to be changing up the format a bit, and I think you guys are going to really enjoy this, hopefully. So yeah, bear in mind that we are still going to be, ranking this account up in the background, and I will give updates on progress each week as to where we've got to on the account. But since we reached Legendary 2, which was the goal since we started this playthrough, I am, more than happy now to kind of change up the format. And yeah, although I'll still be ranking stuff up and getting us up to Legendary 3, I want to start something fresh now, and something that will be useful perhaps to players coming into the game and who have just started Duviri maybe. So yeah, we're going to change up the format, as I said last week. And in order to do that, we are going to be, each week, min-maxing a single frame. Alongside that, we are going to provide that frame with 3 weapons, so 3 different weapons each time. And yeah, at the very least, hopefully, we're going to obviously former up all those weapons as well, make them, just dandy. And we'll see if we can add some Riven mods to the mix wherever possible. So that's the goal. And the reason I'm doing this is because, first of all, I was going to do this before Duviri even released, because at some point, you want to have a great build on every single frame, or at least in my mind you would. And since Duviri has released, we obviously have the circuit, and we are restricted, if you've maxed out your intrinsics, to 5 frames each time. And not always will you get the frames that you perhaps want to do the circuit. So I thought it would be a really good idea for us to each week min-max a single frame, starting with the primed frames. I'll explain why in a second. And then, we can min-max that out and focus specifically on a build for completing the circuit and the Undercroft generally in Duviri. So the Undercroft obviously has a rotation cycle of missions, which include Exterminate, they include Void Flood, Survival, Defense, and Excavation. I might be missing one there, I can't remember. But either way, those are the missions that we want to focus on for our frames. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. And like I said, we're going to start with the prime frames. The reason being is that in Warframe, you start with the normal frame, and then later on down the line, a primed Warframe will be released. And I don't want to invest a load of format and a load of platinum into a frame that doesn't have, its prime counterpart yet, only to have their prime counterpart released later on down the line, and I have to do the whole thing over again for the primed variant of the Warframe. So yeah, we're going to start with the primed frames to begin with. And what we're also going to do alongside this, which I am so looking forward to because I haven't done it at all for this series yet, because I haven't been able to invest any money or platinum into this series, is we are going to be focusing on fashion frame as well. So we're going to take a frame, we're going to min-max it, we're going to provide it with 3 weapons, all of which will be min-maxed, and then we're going to try and make it look cool in our own style, using our kind of clan colours and stuff like that. So that is the plan. So I'm going to cut here, guys, and when I come back, we will have, I will have decided on my first frame. What I will say is that if you guys want to see a particular frame in, next week's episode, leave them down in the comments below. I'll look through, and if anyone does suggest anything, which I think, I could probably do, then I will be focusing on those frames. But considering I'm now no longer kind of restricted in terms of timing for these, I can do them quite a lot in advance, which is going to be nice for me, and it's going to be able, I'll be able to schedule videos in a bit more easily. And therefore, what I might do as well is we'll be adding another video during the week for stream highlights. So usually each week I stream on Monday and Tuesday. So what we might do is we might upload a stream highlights video on Wednesday evening. We'll have to see about that though, and it depends how long this is going to take me each week to do. So yeah, hopefully it'll go smoothly. But let's cut and see what frame we are going to start with. Alright guys, so the first frame that I have chosen to go with for this week, the first episode of this, is going to be a Zephyr. Now Zephyr isn't actually a frame I use a whole lot in this game. In fact, I haven't used her at all during this playthrough, only to get her maxed out for the Mastery rank, so she is a perfect first choice as a frame that I basically never use. So if she were to come up in Duviri now, she's unlikely to be one that I would pick. However, since we're about to try and min-max her a bit, she will be a viable option in the future. So let's take a look at her gear. You can see here we've got ourselves Tailwind, which allows us to dash. We've then got Air Burst, which is going to launch a projectile in to suck enemies inwards. We then have Turbulence, which is going to give us, turbulence. It's going to give us a shield that's going to redirect projectiles. This is basically going to make us invulnerable during the Undercroft, and it's also going to allow us to redirect projectiles away from defense targets such as excavation and also the defense mission in the Undercroft. And then the fourth ability here, Tornado, we're basically never going to use for the Undercroft whatsoever. It's mainly for CC purposes if we ever were to use it. So what we'll probably do is we will use the Helminth to put on a different mod here that's going to give us a different ability that's going to give us a bit more damage. For example, we could put on Nourish maybe for some extra energy and also viral, or we could put on Zarta's Whisper for just generally more damage. So yeah, lots of options to go with. But first of all, we need to get this formed up. And considering we're not going to be worrying about Tornado all that much, what we could probably do is just max out duration and strength. I think that's kind of the way to go. We want to keep a bit of range because we don't want our turbulence to drop too low. Otherwise, yeah, the target's going to get hit by any incoming projectile. So we need to keep this up a bit higher. But yeah, for the most part, we'll just dump everything into strength and duration. And also there is an augment mod for Airburst, which will increase the amount of damage our secondary weapon is going to do based on how many enemies get hit by it. So that might be something that we incorporate into this build as well. So without further ado, guys, I'm just gonna cut here. If you guys don't know how I rank up my frames, I use Adaro on Sedna. I put silence onto my on whatever frame that I am running using the Helminth, and then I will just run straight through Adaro with the Kuva Ogress or something similar, blow up all the enemies and get loads of affinity that way. If you haven't seen my focus farming guide, go ahead and have a look as it explains it in great detail. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to get this build to the point where I want it, and then we'll obviously run through that build, and then we'll go ahead and choose what weapons we want to use with our Zephyr, or just, you know, what weapons we want to do right now, because we're not guaranteed to get those weapons in Duviri, obviously. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this guy ranked up. Okay, guys, so our Zephyr, now 4 Former, and you can see here I've kind of gone with a duration strength build, trying to keep my range fairly even, so I've got Stretch and Alga Reach on to achieve that. Even though we do have Narrow-Minded on, which gives us negative 66% range, we've managed to bring it back up a bit with these two mods. I've then gone ahead and just thrown on Transient Fortitude and the 2 Umbra mods in order to get our strength up to 225%. And then we've got Anchored Glide on here for an extra 15%. I decided not to go ahead and use Airburst rounds in the end, simply because A, we don't know what kind of secondary weapon we're going to be dumped with when we're on Duviri. And B, our range isn't really suitable for pulling in loads of enemies with Airburst. You can see the radius is 8.72 meters, which isn't bad. But generally speaking, I don't want to be having to worry about using Airburst like the whole time. So yeah, that's why we've gone with that. And then I've got Guardian and Energize on here, which are kind of my usual go-to arcanes. Energize for obviously keeping our energy pool up, and Guardian for maintaining our armor and durability. If we don't happen to be able to get Turbulence up, it will just provide us with a bit of sustain. I've then gone and thrown Nourish onto our 4th, and as you can see, that's going to give us a viral damage boost and also allow us to get extra energy from energy orbs. You can see the energy multiplier there at 3.25 times, so we should never run out of energy with this build. In fact, we could probably substitute Arcane Energize considering this. I'm just not really sure what would go well on here instead of it, because for the most part, you know, a lot of these mods revolve around either primary weapons or secondary weapons or melee weapons, and we never know which one really we're going to be utilizing in each game. So I think I am just going to leave it as Energize for now, and if we happen to get something more interesting in the future, perhaps one of the new arcanes that's come out, then for sure we can go ahead and throw that on. There are other arcanes such as More Efficiency, which I do not have access to right now on rank 5. I just haven't farmed them up or bought them, so, you know, we can throw that on maybe when we get it, because the chances are with Turbulence active, our shields will probably be active, so we should get extra duration on there. But yeah, so that's the idea there. Let's take a look now at weapons. So as I said, for the melee weapons, we're going to be starting with the new ones that we get from Duviri. So I've got Edun here, and it's quite a nice looking weapon, to be honest. This is a really cool polearm, I guess it is, or spear, or whatever you want to call it. So we're going to be starting with this one as our melee, and then as our primary and secondary, I would like to go with the Incarnon weapons, and we will do that in the future. The new ones, that is. But for now, since I haven't really had time to gather up the resources for them, we are going to just go ahead and probably focus on either a prime weapon or a Kuva weapon. And more likely, it's going to be a Kuva weapon, simply because I'm going to have to max rank the Kuva weapons anyway for my mastery rank. So let's take a look and see what we have. So we've got Tenet weapons. We've got Tenet Flux rifle, Arcoplasmor, Bolt of Prime. We've got Supra Vandal. That might be an idea. Kuva Chakur. There's not many, obviously, that I've particularly noticed coming up a lot. So maybe we go with the hit scan weapons to begin with, because hit scan weapons in Duviri generally I find to be a lot better than travel time weapons. So let's focus on those to begin with, and I think that's going to mean we're going to have to go with either a prime weapon, or maybe we go with a Vandal weapon. We could do the Quanta Vandal, actually. That might be interesting. Yeah. Or maybe even the Soma. The Soma will have an Incarnate upgrade coming, so maybe we'll do that later on down the line, though. Alright, yeah, let's roll with... I like the idea of the Supra Vandal, actually. Let's do the Supra Vandal. And then it's not hit scan, but the movement speed of the weapon, of the bullets, is considerable. So let's roll with that. And then as our secondary, let's go with... I wonder. I mean, we could do maybe like gaze, or that's quite short range. So maybe we want something a bit longer range here. Longer range hit scan weapon. How about the Plinx? Tenet Plinx. That might be a good idea. Yeah, let's roll with the Tenet Plinx. I think I like that. I do even have a Riven mod for the Tenet Plinx, so something we can incorporate onto this build is that. And then the Edun we'll have to throw on an Orokin Catalyst for. Same with the Supra Vandal, which is going to bring our platinum right down low. But hopefully we can build that back up again. So what I'll do, guys, I'll max these out, show you the builds, and then we will start work on making ourselves look damn cool. And we'll probably be using Tenno Gen for that. So yeah, I will catch you guys in a second. Alright guys, so everything now maxed out as much as I want it right now. If we take a look at our Supra Vandal here, I've gone for a mix of crit chance and status here. If I had access to the electric status chance mod here, I'd probably put that on instead of Stormbringer. Then I wouldn't need an extra former. I've put 4 former on here. So yeah, and I've also gone ahead, put on weapon adapters and also primary merciless here as well. So yeah, this should do a pretty decent amount of damage, I would guess. And I put terminal velocity on just so that obviously the bullets fly faster and it's more hit scanny, as I think that's pretty important for this, to be honest. For our Plinx here, we do have a Riven mod. We will be rolling this a bit. It is okay at the moment. It's crit chance, crit damage, and then negative fire rate's a bit and so is plus zoom. So we do want to get off those stats and get something a bit better. So we'll probably use some Steel Essence to go ahead and get some Kuva and roll this up a bit. But yeah, I've also put Lethal Momentum on here for the extra projectile speed, as the Plinx is also not a hit scan weapon, particularly on its secondary fire, which, launches a giant radial ball of death. So yeah, important to note there. And then on our Edun, only 2 formal required, given that we get the the augment mod on our melee weapons. And you can see here I've built this around viral and crit chance, as the Edun has a really high crit chance and crit multiplier, so it's a really, really good weapon for this in particular. So yeah, those are the 3 weapons that we've gone with. You can see I've just put a basic kind of color scheme on my Zephyr right now, and it actually looks decent. But we will be going ahead now and yeah, making this thing look pretty cool. The Supra Vandal right now is looking very blocky on all of this, so to actually make the design, we'll probably swap out the weapons a bit just to make it look cool at the end. But yeah, let's do a bit of a cutaway here and see what it looks like when we return. Alright guys, so transformation complete. I think she's looking pretty good right now, and yeah, given that the current Prime Resurgence rotation is the Avia Prime stuff. It kind of fit quite well. I didn't actually realise that that was the current rotation on the Aya stuff. So yeah, I went ahead and bought those. And yeah, I think she looks quite good. I just stuck with the basic colour scheme for now. I haven't gone ahead and bought any other colour palettes really to work with. So I've stuck with my kind of red, black and white with orange energy, which I've been going with throughout this kind of series. As it goes in quite well with my emblem, although it's looking quite pale here. I need to maybe boost the alpha on that emblem, not sure. But yeah, this is what we've ended up with. So for those of you who are kind of interested, this is a Tenno skin. If you do not have your account linked to Steam, then, or you know, you don't have access to Tenno skin, then sorry. But yeah, it is the Hagoromo skin that we are using, and I am not using it with any of the prime details. I quite like the simplistic look without. If you actually add them in, everything gets very cluttered all of a sudden, and it's a bit more difficult to kind of control what is going on. So yeah, I've kind of kept those off for now, and I've just gone with the basic look on this. And then sigil-wise, and obviously armor-wise, like I said, we have the Avia Prime set on here, with the Vengeful Flame Ephemera set to white energy, which is kind of adding, I don't know, a bit of airiness to it. And then if we take a look at the Syandana, this is another Tenno purchase. It is the Zydeco Syandana, which fits in quite well with the bird theme that's going on right here. But it's not too akin to a bird, I would say. I mean, there are a few in here which are obviously just straight up wings. But to be honest, they're a bit much. And when I tend to kind of decorate frames, I usually go for more subtle approaches like that, for example, is quite nice. But yeah, the Zydeco is kind of one of the nicer options in my opinion, so that's what we've gone for here. There were a few other options like the Scapulis as well. Wasn't a bad shout, but it would have intersected with the armor that I've got on, so yeah, we ended up not going with that in the end. And then also there's the Supana, which is a platinum bio. You could have gone with that. That came with the what was it, Equinox Eclipse, not Equinox Eclipse, just Equinox premium bundle set back in the day. So another good option. Tenui was also a decent shout as well. There are a few options, generally speaking. Again, that's probably a bit much for my tastes. Velesti was a good shout as well. If you wanted something a bit longer, I would have probably gone for this. But oftentimes when you go for long Syandanas, they do clip quite a lot and they get in the way. So I decided not to go with that in the end. So yeah, we went with Zydeco, and I think it looks pretty good. Minimalist. Maybe not minimalist completely, but it's nice. So yeah, there we go, guys. That is everything set for this week. So I've taken off the weapons just so they obviously don't impact the view. But I'll just do a quick final run through of what we've built, and then we'll go and test it out. I'll see if I can maybe get Zephyr as a rotation in either the circuits. In fact, yeah, just in the circuit, I think would be wise. So this is what we're going with. I'll just leave the build up on the screen so you guys can see it. And then let's go ahead and put on our Supra Vandal. This is what we're working with on Supra Vandal right now. And then if we take a look at our secondary, which was the Plinx, this is what we're going with. And now, all we need to do to complete this is re-roll this a bit. But I think for this video, I'm just going to leave this be because, again, not everyone's going to have access to a Plinx ribbon. So you could quite happily replace this with something like Anemic Agility or, you know, perhaps Hollow Point. There are a few things that you could slot on there instead of this. It's not actually adding all that much because the ribbon disposition is down at 1 dot. So yeah, it's not crazy good. And then the Edun build right here, I'll keep it up on the screen for you guys, what I'm using. And there we go. So that is now 4 things, which if they happen to come up on our rotation for Duviri on anything, then we are going to be well set and ready to use them. And I think that's kind of what we're going to be going for with this series. So yeah, let me quickly see, guys, if I can get any of these things to pop up on our rotation. Hopefully I can get at least one of them. If not, well, yeah, we're not going to get it up. And we can test it somewhere else. But yeah, for now, let's go and see if we can get something going. Alright guys, so after a couple of rotations here, managed to get ourselves Zephyr in our Warframe pool. Unfortunately, didn't manage to get any of the weapons. Would have been good if we could get 2 at once, but whatever. But yeah, we're just going to roll with it. So right now I'm using the Ambassador, the Pennant, and the Vacor Marlock, none of which I have builds for, so it's really going to come down to how we build our Zephyr as to whether or not this is going to work. And considering we have Nourish on, and the fact that we're going to be on Steel Path, I think what we're going to do, we are going to just focus on status effects, and look at that. Status effects still double damage, first one. I think we can live with that. So what we'll do, we'll kind of just go through for a bit. I might see just how far I can get with this. I don't know. I don't know how really it's going to work out. So, yeah. Let's see what we can do. But it could just be a disaster. Who knows? Nice and easy one to begin with, though. So, yeah, I'll catch you guys maybe once we've progressed a bit. And, yeah, we'll see where we can get to. Alright, guys. So, we got ourselves a survival mission here. And it's really, like, I don't even have to think, to be honest. As soon as I get a headshot and obviously start mowing them down, the status effects do the rest and they just die. And as long as I can survive, which obviously I can because I'm just deflecting all the bullets and I just have to avoid all of the enemies' attacks. Yeah, see, I don't want to let them get too close to me like that. And since I'm running Unairu, I can go ahead and just strip the armor of the big guys. And it's no worries. And yeah. Pretty good, guys. Pretty good. So it's another viable choice, definitely, for the Steel Path circuit. I think in order to make this a bit better, perhaps, we could add on some Archon shards, obviously. I think maybe, at least to begin with, some extra energy would have helped, and maybe some cast speed. That might help a bit as well. But for the most part, I am, yeah, pretty happy with how this build's turned out. It's kind of sad that you can't alter the appearance of the weapons that you hold. Like, I can see the pennant on my back right now, which... yeah, I don't really want to have to see because it's quite big and it's kind of ruining the aesthetic a bit, but it's fine. So yeah, I'm going to keep going, guys. We'll see where we get to. And then we'll do a bit of a round out at the end. I'll give an update on progress for the account. And then, yeah, we'll round out the video. Alright guys, so I think I'm going to finish this one up there. I just did the excavation and we're moving on to defense now. I don't know if I want to risk the defense mission, particularly with the, you know, Thrax, Legatus or whatever they are that have their massive Hespars coming in, just one-shotting everything now, so yeah. I'm going to get out, but, you know, not too shabby there at all from our Zephyr. Very happy with that, and it's definitely given us an extra frame now that we can use for the circuit. So yeah, bit of an update on progress then. We have got ourselves a few more weapons and things to go. All of the melee weapons from Duviri are now complete. One of which is already built, obviously, for this episode. I'm also building the Sinter now. That's going to be ready in 14 minutes. We'll probably be using the Sinter for our next build next week. So be ready for that. And also, what else we got? We've got Dark Sword. The Dark Sword came up, guys, in the Nightwave this week. The last Nightwave ever. And we got ourselves the Dark Sword. Here it is. So I'm very happy about that. I was going to be super sad if it didn't pop up this week. So yeah, really happy that that's come up. And I think what we'll be doing is every time we get 15 extra credits now, we're just going to buy into Nitane Extract. Because at some point or another, we are going to need it. I don't know what for, because we've actually built quite a lot now, but we'll probably need it. So yeah, that's kind of it for the episode, guys. That's what the form of the episodes are going to kind of take from now on. Let me know if you guys want me to implement anything else. Obviously, I want these to be enjoyable for you, and not just enjoyable for me, even though I do enjoy doing this kind of stuff and the fashion and everything like that. Making my frames look cool now. It's starting to feel great. But yeah. This is kind of the form that the episodes are going to take in future, and then I'll give a bit of an update, obviously, on where we are generally with the account at the end of each episode. So yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy this. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. I'll see you later, guys.